All right. I could talk up here for an hour, so if I go too long, just throw something at me because I don't know when to shut up sometimes. But I'm Brendan from Unity, and I am a graphics engineer that focuses, and my love is the web. I love the web, and I think the web is a fantastic platform that we all should support, and I love 3JS and the work that Google and Mozilla and Apple are all doing to support graphics on the web. I just thanks for and everybody at Unity loves the web too, because I think the world is a better place when games are all, and we have to figure out how to translate HLSL into the target shading language, which in this case for WebGPU is WebGL. So what we do is we feed all the HLSL into a compiler, which HLSL CC uses FXC and generates GLSL out of that. We feed all the GLSL into GLSlang and we get SPIR-B out of that. We feed all the SPIR-B into Google's tint library and we get WebGL out of that. And then that's the shader that we have to work with. And magically, it works. And if it works, just don't touch it. But we want to touch it because it's a very complicated pipeline. So there's FXC is deprecated, it's not worked on anymore, and all these other type of things. DXC is the future that will soon be the past because they're working on other stuff. But we can reduce the pipeline considerably if we pipe all the HLSL into DXC, and we can get SPIR-B directly out of that, and we can SPIR-B that into tint and get WebGL out of that. DXC is then all the new shader features that we kind of get out of the FXC-based pipeline, all the new stuff they're adding to WebGPU shading language, like wave intrinsics and all these other fun stuff that we can do really complicated and really fun and interesting compute shader stuff with that. We'll have to have a new DXC-based shader compilation pipeline for that. And there's all sorts of other shader compilation stuff, like slang and things like that, and they're all fun, but they're all variants of doing the same thing. So some of the things, I'm just going to skip this. But what that was saying is that there are some, WebGPU is a very strict language for security reasons. Things like sort, let me go back there. I'm not going to skip it because I started talking about it. Here I go on tangents. But so one of the things that we have to deal with is that other graphics APIs are far less strict than WebGPU because they figure if somebody downloads your game and plays it, they've taken on the risk of doing that. But there's a lot more security restrictions for going to a web page and having it take over your computer and stuff. So they're all valid things. But we get a lot of bugs from that because, hey, it works on the editor, but it fails on the web build. And you're like, well, it's because the web is restrictive. But we can take care of a lot of that stuff automatically. So one of the places is storage texture formats. So a lot of times you'll write in HLSL like a storage texture for using in a compute shader because you're writing into it, and it'll have a form. You just have to specify the format, like a float 4 or a half 4 or a float 2 or whatever. There's a lot of places where Direct3D and Vulkan and Metal let you get away with a lot of stuff, but WebGPU does not. They're on it, and they'll yell at you and make the whole thing fail. And then you'll yell at me because it doesn't work. And then I'll yell at Google and they'll say, no, it's the way it's supposed to be. So we can fix all that stuff by automatically, like look at the storage texture format in the shader that was generated by WebGL. Look at the texture that was bound because you bound a half 4 texture, but your shader says it's supposed to be a float 4 and it works in the editor, but it doesn't work in WebGPU. Well, we can replace the float 4 in the shader with a half 4 because that's what you bound. And automatically take care of a lot of these details and let you do what you intended, not do what I say, not what I do. So with WebGPU differs from OpenGL and WebGL in that instead of having a global state where you're binding shader and binding uniforms and all this stuff, and the driver takes care of it, you have to be explicit about creating a pipeline object. And all the pipeline object includes all the blending mode and culling mode and all this other stuff. So there's a lot of stuff to it, and we don't know all that stuff up until the time when you're doing the draw call, because the API is very general purpose and it's designed around GL-based API architecture. And so, because Directory 12 and Meadow and Vulkan all have these type of things, we don't want to repeatedly create these objects because that's where shader compilation happens behind the scenes in the browser. And shader compilation is very expensive because they have to take WXL and then translate it back into HLSL on Windows. So we start with HLSL, go through that whole pipeline. It ends up in HLSL in the end, but it's all necessary. But it causes stalls and stutters. And this little video that stopped playing was showing that as you play through and these pipelines are creating, it can actually stall the rendering for seconds at a time because it's got like 10,000 shaders and now it has to compile at runtime. Well, we can go through and do fun stuff like cache those PSOs up front and then load those before the game started. And then by the time the game is running, it's already, those pipelines have been created and pulled from the cache, and then you get rid of all those stalls. So there's a lot of fun things that we can do, even with all the restrictions of these new types of architectures. So then, WebGPU is a new-ish API, and it's constantly evolving, and we want to evolve with it. We want to make where you can write a game and run it on lots of different platforms, and the web is a platform, in my opinion, the best platform, but a platform, and you can do all of that stuff in a cross-platform way, and we'll take care of all the details for you. Of course, the devil's in the details, and there's things that you want to pay attention to, because you don't want somebody to go to your website and have to download 3 gigs of data to play your game, and start times are super important because you want, as soon as people go to a game or a site and it hasn't loaded in 10 milliseconds, they'll move on to another web page. So all those type of things are important. But we continue to provide new tools and all those type of things to make it as seamless and easy as possible. It's never easy, but I should say easier. And WebGPU keeps getting new extensions, and we make use of those extensions. One is like the new texture formats tier 1 and 2, which enable new storage texture formats, so writable and rewrite storage texture formats. And I've been asking for those for years, and we finally got them, and it opens up a whole new set of applications and games and techniques that you can do that you couldn't do easily before. And WebGPU will continue to get new extensions and new features, and we'll make use of those too. And it's like a symbiotic relationship. And we want WebGPU to succeed so that we can succeed, and we want all the browsers and all we want 3ds and all these other rendering libraries to succeed so that we all can succeed and float the boats together. So upcoming WebGPU features in Unity. So one of the things is device filtering. What that means is, so you tell your game that you want it to run on WebGPU, and then you can have a fallback for WebGL. And it'll do that right now if WebGPU isn't supported by the browser. The problem is that now WebGPU is supported by all the browsers. It doesn't mean all the browsers are bug-free or all these other type of things. So now it's very difficult to fall back to WebGL, and you want to have that fallback so you can increase your device reach. Compatibility mode will be amazing for that, but we want to provide a user-driven way of doing that. Like, I'm on Chrome 126, and this is, I know a bug in that version, so I want this version to fall back to WebGL. Provide the logic that allow the user, the game developer, or the application. There's more than just games. I just keep saying games, but games. So compatibility mode, enabling that in Unity WebGPU builds will open up, increase the device reach significantly. And that was Kai and Ken were talking about that. It'll be a significant, close to WebGL device reach. And with WebGPU, particularly on the Android, which has a huge long tail of different variant devices. And so once we, that'll just be an automagic feature where it's like, if it fails to initialize in core mode, then it'll try compat mode. And if it fails to compile in compare mode, okay, then it'll go to WebGL, and that'll run everywhere. And then inside your application or game, then you have to do feature detection, like are compute shaders supported? Will it be true for WebGPU and it'll be false for WebGL? And it'll be up to the developer to choose a backup plan for when compute shaders are not available. Right now, WebGPU is an experimental in Unity. It doesn't mean that we don't love and support it. It just means that we're still working on it, but we're going to get out of experimental. I don't want to give exact dates or any versions or not, but working as hard as we can. And what that means is it works very well right now, but we want to make sure that when we get it out of experimental and say it's production ready, that the people that trust us and use it get a good experience out of that, and we'll continue to use it because that's what we want. We want people to continue to build stuff for the web. And so we want to be careful about that, but we're working as fast as we can to do that. And we're going to continue fixing bugs because things like memory usage and shader sizes and all these type of things, just to continue evolving and growing the web and GPU implementation inside of Unity, because we really do care about it, and we'll continue to improve it. And there's never an end, you just keep working.
Until you die.
Until you die. I'll die happy. I'm a little bit of a workaholic, but I love it's only because I love it. And I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't love it. I'd be doing something else. So thank you. I don't know how to